Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Agriculture and Aquaculture Subcommittee meeting, March 18th, 2026. We are going to start off with House Bill 1400, Delegate Jacobs' bill. But I had a couple of housekeeping things I wanted to say first. First of all, if anybody would like to be the floor leader on any of the bills that we're about to pass out, please let me know. And second of all, I want to have a great discussion, but also to remember that we have two subcommittees following us. So brevity will be the soul of discretion at this afternoon. And for anyone who's a guest, thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to keep your camera off, and we will call on you if somebody has a direct question. But thank you so much for being here. And with that, Patrick, do you want to start off with taking us?
Subcommittee.
I'm sorry, say again.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't talking to me. Do you want to start off with explaining this bill? I do want to say we passed a corollary bill, I would say, last year.
Correct.
So it should be familiar.
It's familiar. Do we have Delegate Jacobs on? Yes, I see him.
We do.
This bill is the corollary bill you're talking about was the bill that tweaked the penalties for oyster violations, for extreme oyster violations, to say one strike you're out. No, not one strike you're out. And this bill does the same thing for aquaculturists. There are requests for amendments because the violations don't necessarily track exactly in the wild fishery with the aquaculture fishery. And another concern was, how do we deal with these leases that, could be extensive, and, we don't want them to just, go silent. And I think the amendments might address that. And that's what I think Delegate Jacobs may be able to speak to more. The amendments were offered by CBF and DNR, and they looked the same to me. I didn't get a chance to parse them. And I noticed that the Senate bill is coming out with amendments, but I haven't seen those amendments. So if Delegate Jacobs had more background, that might be helpful.
My understanding, Madam Chair, if I may.
Please.
And my understanding is the amendments are the same on both bills. Both the Senate sponsor and I agreed to the CBF amendments that were presented.
And they address what would happen to the leases if somebody
Yes.
was suspended? Okay,
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. So Patrick, do you have those to share with us or not at this point?
I have the Senate amendments. I do not have the reprint, although, no, I do not have the reprint. I can read it off to you real quick.
That would be great.
This is with respect to somebody who is the sole holder of a shellfish aquaculture lease and has their permit or registration card suspended or revoked. Within 90 days following the administrative proceeding, they can provide to the department a plan to remove gear and other equipment from the leased area and transfer the lease to another person. Within 60 days of receipt of the plan, the department shall review and notify the person of any required plan revisions. Within 30 days of the notification, the person shall submit any required plan revisions and a lease transfer application to the department. And the department, has 90 days to approve it, and they cannot terminate the person's lease before the conclusion of the process. And if the person doesn't complete the process, they could forfeit any gear or equipment on the leased area.
Great,
And
thank you.
as I could say, yeah, that's it. That's the general gist of the amendments.
So thank you, Patrick. So I see we have Lydia McPherson on from DNR. Did you want to say anything about this?
No, I just wanted to reiterate, we did, to Delegate Jacobs' point, we worked with CBF to come to an agreement, so we're on the same page there, and truly just with the intention of these amendments were just to make sure that we account for the differences between leaseholders and those who have a wild oyster fishery permit. So we think that these amendments can accomplish that while still taking bad actors off the water, and we're appreciative of the bill.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
and can I ask Lydia, these are the Senate amendments?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what you're looking at, Patrick, but I was reading it alongside you and it sounds like it's the same. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'll make sure anything we do, I'll run by you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Delegate Foley.
Madam Chair, or Patrick, are we in a position to pass this bill today, like conceptually, now that we know what the amendments are?
If the subcommittee's willing.
So Madam Chair, I see your head shaking, so I would then like to move the amendments conceptually as they've been explained to us.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Wonderful. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. The amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The bill passes. Thank you very much. And thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to move on now. Kristen, are you okay?
I'm good. Appreciate the accommodation.
No problem. Why don't we start with Delegate Allen's House Bill 969? This is about selling electricity as a vehicle fuel.
Would you like me to bring up the reprint? He did have an amendment.
If you could, please. I actually think there might be a couple of typos in the reprint, but
Oh, no. Well, let's see what's going on
it's
there.
just to me. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, as Delegate Chair Ziegler mentioned, we're dealing with electric vehicle fuel sold at retail, establishing its equipment requirements and certain requirements for the measurement of the sale of the electricity, and that would be in kilowatt hours. And language is being added. So do you want to tell me the typos first, or should I?
That's okay. It's just, I'll find a couple of places.
Yeah, so maybe when I read it out loud too, I'll see it. So the amendment language would indicate that customers could only be charged for the kilowatt hours of electricity that's dispensed during a charging session. And then the provisions that allow fees related to other things other than the retail sale of electricity that can be charged. They may only be applied at the conclusion of a charging session, and they must be itemized on the customer's receipt.
Exactly. Any discussion on this bill?
I got a couple questions, if I may.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Please go ahead.
There were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 unfavorables and 2 favorable amendments. To these amendments address those concerns.
The amendments, I think, were specifically from the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, well, that's where they talked about the unit price or something like that. What the heck was that? Their kilowatt hour, I think it was.
So theirs was, they wanted just to make sure that the additional charges would be reflected, like on a receipt, they'd be itemized.
Mhm.
They wanted to make it clear that during the time that you're charging your vehicle, that the charges that are being applied to that part of the time relate to the sale of electricity. If there's going to be additional charges, that would come in separate from the actual units of kilowatt hours that are being used or dispensed.
So do all of the others agree with that? Like MEA and
So, yeah, so
and
these amendments were strictly just to address MDA's concerns. We didn't, like, I know BG came out with their concerns. This was not, this amendment doesn't reflect any, it doesn't address their concerns.
okay.
Further discussion? Do I hear a motion on the amendments?
Move the amendments, Madam Chair.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the amendments, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? No. Do I hear a motion on the bill?
Move the bills amended.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
The bill passes. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 912. Local government trap, neuter, return policies for community cats, requirements and restrictions, ASH's law. So we discussed this a couple of weeks ago. And here we are back with some amendments. Kristen, can you walk us through the amendments?
So let me see how the best way to do this, because we don't have a reprint. So let me see if I can do a side by side. All right, well, I won't be able to do a side by side. So first, so this amendment language came in, this isn't, we don't have any type of sponsor amendments, but this was a suggestion received in testimony that on page 3, line 19, which requires that the cats are returned to the location where they were found, unless veterinary care is required. The language here would also to be add that they would not be required to be returned if the area has been deemed unsafe for return.
Okay.
And do you want me
Yeah,
to
if we
talk about this, or do you want to go to the other? I missed what you said.
Why don't you take us through all the amendments and then we can talk about them all together? So we're
So-
not requiring that cats be returned to a place if it's deemed to be dangerous.
Yep, that's one suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have a question.
I'm sorry. Delegate Foley.
Thank you. So is this, if it's deemed to be dangerous to the cats or to the humans?
To
Or
the
both.
cats.
To the cats, okay.
To the cats.
And this recommendation also came in via testimony where just after having a conversation with the subcommittee chair, the bill sponsor, this language is bringing in criminal law provisions relating to the abuse or neglect of the animal. And cannot scroll on these things. So at the end of is where the language comes in to indicate that a person who's providing community care under a trap, neuter, return policy would not be deemed as having charge or custody of the community cat for purposes of, abuse or neglect violations.
So you couldn't be charged with abusing or neglecting community cats that you're.
If you're doing that in accordance with the provisions of the TNR policy.
Great, thank you. That's the second one. And is there a third?
I don't think, I mean, there
No.
are other suggestions we received in testimony. This was just what I shared based on conversations that we had, but there were other, I think, recommendations that were submitted in testimony that I don't have typed up.
Okay, great. So I think those are the two that we thought were a good idea. Discussion on the bill. Anybody have questions, thoughts?
I thought there was, I'm trying to find my notes from previous bills. Oh, God. I think that I think I brought it up, something about if the municipalities required reporting, because I know in the bill, I think it said no reporting.
It does, yes.
And then I said, but we should, if the municipalities require it, we should allow it, is what, well, I think is what I said.
For the registration? you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
I did, listen, when I was mayor, I did this and we knew where they were. I supported the whole program, but, we kind of knew what was going on, how many colonies they were, because you really should know how many colonies they are, especially in a municipality. So I'm supportive of the whole program. It's
Okay,
just, I'm saying if a town wanted to, I think this bill says that they don't have to.
yes,
Yeah.
it does. In fact, it specifically. says
It's
it
explicit, I
can't.
think,
It
saying that there's no
explicitly say it
reporting.
can't. Exactly.
And my question, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was we talked about, was if a municipality requested it, required it, would they be able to do that? I mean, I don't know how you would do that, but I mean, there should be something
There's,
there if the municipality wanted to do it. In other words, it would be voluntary, I guess, not mandatory.
Let me come back to that. Delegate Foley?
Sorry, trying to unmute. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I am a little fuzzy about what the amendments are to this bill. If I could ask you or Kristen to go over that again.
So we had two amendments that came in. One was basically saying that you wouldn't have to return a community cat if the area was unsafe to do so, to return that cat. The other one was adding the bill as introduced has exemption basically for violations involving abandonment of animals, where if you were participating in one of these programs, that you're not going to be held, when you return the cat, you're not going to be abandoning the animal. So that's the bill as introduced. The amendment language brought in another section of the criminal law article that relates to abuse or neglect of an animal. So similarly, if you were providing care to a community cat and you went and you left them somewhere, you're not neglecting the animal. You wouldn't be, being charged as having, you wouldn't be considered as having charge or custody of the animal for purposes of, criminal implications.
Okay.
Does that
So
make
the
sense?
bill, if you want to know what the bill, then, we can bring up that too, if you want to see what the provisions of what a TNR policy, what the requirements are. That's all in the bill as it came in.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to hear from the bill sponsor who happens to be on this call as a member of the
Yes,
committee.
I was just going to put her on the spot, but fortunately she has her hand up. Madam Vice Chair, did you want to also respond to Delegate Jacobs'
I
question?
wanted to respond, I just wanted to have Kristen clarify and hopefully to make, if I'm accurate, to make Delegate Foley, to answer her question. The language we're talking about right now on the criminal code, did that come from Montgomery County?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what did you say? It did not come from Montgomery County?
That was
It
one of
did.
their suggestions. Yes, it's from Montgomery County.
It
It
did.
is from
It did.
Montgomery County. Okay,
Yes.
that was confusing to me. Okay, so that language came from Montgomery County. Okay, thank you.
Madam Vice Chair, did you want to talk about the registration or not?
You know what? We've been back and forth on the registration, to be honest, Delegate Jacobs. And I believe actually the subcommittee chair and I disagree a little bit on the way we'd like for this to look. We have talked to someone else and one of our other colleagues who's worked extensively on this program in Montgomery County, who feels very strongly that the registry is a bad idea. And so I have deferred the decision to our subcommittee chair. Because I'm confused about it personally, and I'm gonna let the subcommittee do the subcommittee's work.
Delegate Lewis. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Delegate Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think it's great to have really thorough debate, and I do realize we have spent a lot of time on this bill because I think we all want to protect vulnerable animals and the people who take care of them. So what I'm hearing, and if I could just make sure that I'm hearing this right, what this bill does is it makes it clear that leaving, if you are a caregiver of a community cat, you can release that cat in an area so long as it's not considered unsafe. And I'm assuming there's a definition of unsafe in the bill. There's no, okay, so anyway, whatever that means, it might be better to have some terms around it, but the idea is just that this bill essentially decriminalizes caretakers for re-releasing animals. And that seems important to me. It might be helpful to have a little bit more clarity on what a dangerous location is. And the other thing the bill does is, as I understand it, the bill relieves caretakers of being criminalized for releasing animals, period. And those seem like worthy things to do. So I very much support this bill. I think, I hope we will move it as soon as possible. If I were to ask anything, it would just be perhaps to have a little bit more clear language on what's a dangerous location for dropping off a cat. Other than that, this bill sounds ready to go. So that's just adding my input. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chair Ziegler, can I just add something here too?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to.
Well, just to keep in mind that this is law that local jurisdictions would be adopting. So they certainly could go further and expand on what certain terms mean if you want to just make that a part of your consideration as well. This is going to state law basically as a model law, and then the local jurisdictions could expand on that definition if they wanted to.
May I, Madam Chair?
Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kristen. With that clarification, I feel comfortable with the bill. To Delegate Jacobs' point, it's important that locals have some authority to define how their catch and release programs will work. But as state legislators, we're doing our job by setting the minimum standard. And so if that's the case, I feel pretty comfortable with this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. So are we in a place voting on the amendments, even though they're conceptual essentially. We don't have a reprint.
I'm willing to move the amendments that we've discussed.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the amendments, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Don't see anybody. Okay, the amendments pass. Thank you very much. On the bill,
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Anybody opposed? Wonderful. The bill passes. Thank you all so much. And I think we have some extra time to give back to our incredibly hardworking councils and the rest of the subcommittees. So
Move to adjourn.
thank you. Do I have a second? We're adjourned. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye, everybody.